During this portion of the course, we're going to take a look at creating the entrance road profile. We just created the alignment for the entrance road. We called that chain intran. We're going to pick up on page 20 in our manual and cover the steps from 20 to 21 to 22. So I'm going to flip back over to my design file, and I'm going to open up my site modeler and get back into my modeler project. Now, the entrance road, I need to draw the profile, so I'm going to go ahead and open up another view, and in that view, that's where I'll draw the profile. It's just a blank area of Power Civil in the design file that I've zoomed to. So I'm just going to plot the profile. To do that, I go to Civil, Profiles, Draw Profiles. The Draw Profile dialog appears. I'll select my job number and my chain. In this case, it's Intran or Entrance Road. And you'll notice that the Surfaces tab and the information on the Surfaces tab is ghosted. Same with the COGO tab and Projection tab. In order for me to access the information so that I can set up what I want to plot in the profile, the first thing I need to do is create a profile cell. So I'll do that by selecting the icon, Profile Cell Control, which will bring up a Profile Cell Control dialog. This dialog is a tool where I'll manage multiple profile cells within a drawing or reference files. In this case, I have no profiles cells plotted as of yet. So I'm going to go ahead and create one. So I'm going to place a profile cell. I'm going to key in the correct information in my profile cell tool setting. In that case, station 0, elevation 5240. This represents the lower left corner of my profile. A scale, vertical and horizontal, so any kind of exaggeration I would put there. And then I can set up the cell range. In this case, how far above the axis at 5240 and how far below the axis do I want to extend the cell, the vertical side of the cell. So I'll key in 60 and 10 there. Now I'll pull my cursor over into view number 2, and there's my profile cell. So I just click to place it, and it's placed in the file. And I can see back at my profile cell control dialog, I can see it listed there. And I can delete that if I want, if I need to place it again. So I'll go ahead and close that. Now on the Surfaces tab, I have plenty of information available now to create the existing ground profile. I want to plot an existing ground profile based on my surface. So I'm at the Surfaces tab, and I'm going to go ahead and set up what surface I want to use. So in this case, I'm going to select the surface to be model base. That's the existing ground for my model tower. Method, I'll set that to triangles. So everywhere the center line hits a triangle, it's going to calculate an elevation and use that to construct the profile. Versus only calculating it where the center line crosses a break line, or where the center line points of tangent on the center line, or at a specific increment along the center line, or at even stations. Triangles will ensure that I don't miss any high or low spots. The next thing I want to set up is how to draw it. I can set it up by level symbology and just double click and choose a level, weight and color. I want to choose existing pro center line. Or I could have a feature set up in my Design and Computation Manager and use that. But in this case, level symbology. You have other options here to, for example, limit the station range at which you plot the profile. And you can also plot a profile based on the ground surface horizontally left or right of that center line chain, or vertically up or down from that center line. Any void areas I can plot in a separate type of symbology if I want. I'm going to leave everything as it's set there and just simply add the surface to my list. So I add the surface to my list, and you'll notice in view 2 that it draws the surface. If I don't want to draw it, I simply toggle off the draw and it removes it. Toggle it back on and it draws it. By choosing the model base, if at any point the model base changes to a new surface, then the profile can simply be updated. I can come back to the profile dialog and hit Update Profile. Also in the profile dialog we can set up scale, so if any text were to be plotted, in this case there is no text, but any text would assume, a scale value. I can also store this surface in coordinate geometry, so if I want to store the profile in the COGO, I could do that. Give it a name, store it in the COGO, and it will read that ground surface profile into coordinate geometry. Next, we're going to take a look at designing the proposed profile for my center line of my road.